Although storm and disease had broken up his first two attempts to conquer Kauai, Kamehameha did not give up. In 1810, Kaumuali'i, the ruler of Kauai and Ni'ihau, realized that his army could not long resist the military force that was building up on Oahu, and that it would be better to surrender. Through a friendly American trader named Captain Nathan Winship, he arranged to meet Kamehameha. Taking passage on Winship's vessel, he journeyed to Oahu. Kamehameha received him generously and honorably. In return for the surrender of the islands, he was allowed to remain as their governor as long as he lived. After he died, the position would go to the Kamehameha line. Meanwhile, some of Kamehameha's chiefs plotted to poison Kaumuali'i, who had held out against Kamehameha for so many years. Isaac Davis learned of the plot and persuaded Captain Winship to take Kaumuali'i back to Kauai on short notice. The chiefs, angry at Davis's interference, poisoned him, ending the life of one of Kamehameha's most loyal servants. During the last years of Kamehameha's reign, foreign ships, mostly British and American, were familiar sights along the Honolulu waterfront. In 1804, and again in 1809, vessels flying the Russian flag made brief visits to the islands. Some years earlier, the Russian government had given a monopoly of the fur trade in the North Pacific to the Russian-American Company. In 1812, the Russians founded a settlement at Fort Ross on the California coast north of San Francisco and one in Sitka, Alaska. To supply these settlements, the governor of the Russian company, Alexander Baranof, sent a ship to Hawaii in 1814 to pick up cargo. After loading, the ship set sail in January of 1815, but was wrecked on a shore at Waimea, Kauai. Baranof then sent a German doctor named George Scheffer to recover the cargo and possibly set up permanent trading posts in the islands. Scheffer paid his respects to Kamehameha on the Big Island and then proceeded to Kauai on a ship that Baranof had sent to him. Here, he wormed his way into Kaumuali'i's confidence and in the spring of 1816 started trading operations. Apparently, he also succeeded in involving Kaumuali'i in a treasonable agreement to make the island a protectorate of the Russian Tsar. Scheffer then returned to Honolulu. With a force from 3 Russian vessels anchored in the harbor, he built a blockhouse, mounted guns, and raised the Russian flag. This daring action was reported to Kamehameha, who sent word to his chiefs on Oahu to oppose the invaders. Faced with superior force, the Russians withdrew to Kauai. Kamehameha promptly ordered John Young to build a strong fort that included the Russian blockhouse. Young mounted 60 guns on it and placed others on the slopes of Punchbowl Hill overlooking the town. Fort Street, in today's downtown Honolulu, takes its name from this incident. By this time, American traders had convinced Kaumuali'i that this Russian influence was dangerous. When orders came from Kamehameha to expel Scheffer, Kaumuali'i agreed to follow them. Scheffer left suddenly for Canton and finally reached St. Petersburg in Russia. When the Russian Imperial Navy ship Rurik visited the islands in late 1816, its commanding officer, Lieutenant Otto von Kotzebue, showed his approval of Kamehameha's action in expelling Scheffer and stated that his government had only the friendliest of feelings for Hawaii. In 1811, Kamehameha set forth on a tour of his kingdom, starting with the island of Hawaii. On the way, however, his schooner, Keoa, sprang a leak and had to return to Honolulu. From there, Captain Winship took the king on his ship to Kealakekua Bay, where Kamehameha stayed for a short time. Then he visited Maui and Molokai, where he organized the system of collecting taxes and inspired his subjects to improve their farming methods. Queen Keopuolani bore Kamehameha 2 more children. Their first child, Liholiho, who would become Kamehameha II, was born in 1796 or 1797. The second son, born around 1814, was Kauikeauli. The daughter, Nahi'enaena, was born in 1815. Kauikeauli later succeeded Liholiho as Kamehameha III. During the last 7 years of his life, Kamehameha spent most of his time in the settlement at Kailua on the Kona coast of the Big Island. He died there on May 8, 1819. Although by uniting the islands and bringing them peace, he prepared the way for the missionaries, he knew little of Christian beliefs. Had he lived one more year, he would have met the first group of missionaries from New England. He would probably not have welcomed their efforts to destroy the old ways. To the very last, he held firmly to the old kapu and to the worship of the Hawaiian gods. As late as 1818, he ordered the deaths of 3 men for minor violations of the kapu. Yet, when he was dying, he would not allow the priest to perform human sacrifices to speed his recovery. The funeral rites followed the ancient customs. The most important part of the ceremony was the disposal of the dead king's bones. This act was called huna kele, which means to hide in secret. The friend chosen to ensure that Kamehameha's remains would never be touched was Chief Ho'opili. He hid them with the help of Ho'olulu. To this day, no one knows where the bones were deposited. There is a story that years later, Kamehameha III, on a visit to Kailua, persuaded Ho'olulu to show him the spot. They began their journey to the hills together, but when Ho'olulu saw that they were being followed, he turned back. Today, only the stars of the heavens know the resting place of Kamehameha.